everybody, it's me, Shell360, and it's late again. I try to film these things on time, but life has just really been getting in the way. This last weekend when I would have filmed, I ended up spending the entire day getting all my Christmas stuff done because all of my loved ones live far away. So in order for me to send them presents, I had to get it done this weekend in order for them to be in the mail by Monday and get to them on time. So I just didn't have a chance to film this weekend. And then, I lost daylight today because I had to work, and so, yeah. Here I am now doing this review. But anyway, episodes 13 and 14. I don't have a snack for you guys. I'll show you a snack just so I can say that I had one. Matdongsan. Not very good in my opinion, but you guys might like it. It's fried dough covered with a sugar glaze and little pieces of peanut. It's not particularly great. It has a sweet flavor. It has a little bit of a peanut flavor. It has more oil flavor than I actually like, which is one of the things that I found to be a deterrent. The oil kind of tasted old to me, and it's fried really hard to the point that it almost hurts your teeth to crunch into these things. So this is not a snack for me, but maybe you guys will like it. Okay. So episodes 13 and 14. A lot of big things happen. And I'm going to talk about things in just a freeform style because so many things happen and so many different storylines intersected that there's really no kind of linear way for me to talk about this. So I'm going to start with Hari's father because that's the easiest thing to talk about because it was the most bullshit thing that happened during the 2 episodes. Hari's father is reintroduced into the storyline, and he's reintroduced by him showing up at her place to ask her if she wants a different job. She tells him no and don't give me any more money because I can do things on my own. He's like, good job, bye. Producers, I almost would have been happier if you had just not mentioned her father at all. Like, honestly, I would have rather us just pretended like her family didn't exist anymore than to shoehorn her dad's appearance into the storyline and in such a stupid way. It didn't make any sense to me for her dad to be like, hey, I'm here, just want to see if you want another job. All right, then, I'll talk to you later, bye, love you. They never addressed the fact that he should have apologized after hitting her. They never addressed the fact that we still don't know what happened between him and her mother. They never addressed the fact that the stepmother was a bitch and she deserved her comeuppance. They've never addressed the fact that the stepmother's like, I'm going to use this information about you lying later on. There is so much that we didn't get out of their storyline that I would rather just pretend like it didn't exist. Do like how some of these American sitcoms do. Send the extra sibling up the stairs and have them never come down. Because it's bothersome when you bring them back like this, only to half-ass it. When these were storylines that people cared about. I mean, it was so shocking when her dad slapped her that I feel like that deserved more of a resolution than what it got. Definitely more of a resolution than what it got. But again, it's neither here nor there. Other small storyline, Gold Digger and her target. So Gold Digger finds out that Junwoo is not rich. So she's going to put him to the side. And of course he's heartbroken because he's cute and innocent and wonderful. But she's like, okay, well now that I know that he's not the heir, could it be one of the other 2 guys in the office? So first she looks at Pong Ho and she's like, no, not the back scratcher guy. Then she looks at Shin Yuk, who is looking pretty good right now. I mean, he quit wearing that motorcycle jacket. He's been showing up with different sport coats every day. He's been putting makeup on because you can see it whenever they do a close-up of his face. He's got all that powder in his beard. But he's been looking good. So she's thinking, well, maybe he's the heir. So after work, she follows him into the hallway and is like, hey, Oppa, what you doing after work? You want to go out to dinner sometime? He looks at her and is like, girl, do you know how long your nose hairs are right now? And of course she's like, what, nose hairs? Oh my gosh. She decides it's really not worth it. Or maybe it is worth it, but I don't know if I want to put in the effort. And that's when she really starts thinking, I understand that I want this better lifestyle, but at the same time, Junwoo is so sweet. Maybe I need to just go ahead and give him a chance. I don't know. I'm conflicted. So then he kind of pushes the matter by showing up somewhere in there. I don't know where they are in the build. I don't know anything about this building's layout. There's a fucking library, there's a big old lobby, there's hallways and glass elevators, but I can't tell you anything about the layout. But there's somewhere in the office building. He goes to her and he's like, hey, I have a friend who asked me to go on a blind date. Solketing. Should I go or should I not go? Do you want me to go on another date? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. So this baby is calling and he's just like, yeah, I'll go on that date. Ah! It starts running down the hall. I died. Oh, I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard when he broke out into that full sprint down the hallway. I'm like, first of all, is this an office? Where are you running in this office? Number two, are we really running? We're not just like walking away. But no, he is like sobbing and running at the same time. I laughed so hard. Oh, I hollered. But anyway, so that happens with him. But she realizes as he's running away that she doesn't want him to soulgate. She wants him to be her man. And so she runs down his bus to stop him, and they have a real kiss, and it's sweet. The only thing that ruined the moment is that he had that Dallas Cowboys patch on his jacket shoulder. But other than that, I could deal with it. But yeah, I died. And I laughed again when she ran down that fucking bus. First of all, he had been running for maybe a good 30, 40 seconds before she decided to start running. How she caught up with him at the bus stop, I'll never know. But then the bus rolls off. She starts running. He gets off at the next bus station or bus stop, whatever. She is literally maybe 5 seconds behind that damn bus. How fast was she running? Like, girl, you have missed your calling in life. You should be a track star because you ran down a bus. But it's whatever. I don't write these things. But yeah, I'm glad their little storyline was cute and wrapped up, and she was able to concentrate on being a good person instead of being a bitch. Other things that got wrapped up, Shinyuk and Heejin, that storyline got wrapped up, and it got wrapped up really, really nice. Shinyuk, of course, realizing it's never going to work between me and Heejin because she is completely and totally in love with Seungjoon. But rather than, continue to beat that dead horse like the writers wanted to do initially, they let him and Heejin have like a real parting. Like after he saw her when they had the group karaoke night and saw her crying over Seungjoon, he's like, yeah, it's over. It's done. But he was able to, get one last day with her. I mean, he tricked her into it by telling her it's an emergency, and then the emergency is that I'm bored. But they went to the amusement park, they had dinner at the buffet, they bought little trinkets on the street, they had coffee together, dessert. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy that they wrapped it up like that because it really meant a couple of different things. Not only did they wrap up kind of their relationship in terms of what it could have been, but they also wrapped up a part of Shinyuk's life. And, I don't know if you don't know by now, but I'm totally going to be giving you spoilers. Like, this is all spoilers. But Shinyuk is 10. Shinyuk is 10. I thought he was the heir, but he is not. He is 10. And, I'm cool with that as well. I'm fine with that too. But yeah, Shinyuk is 10. And I kind of feel like the date that he had with Heejin was not just him saying goodbye to her, but really saying goodbye to his life as Shinyuk. Honestly, because Shinyuk is a persona, kind of. Shinyuk hides behind a beard and scruffy clothes and kind of an unassuming way. And people look at Shinyuk and they don't see anything that's real about him. They think he's poor. They think he's stupid. Well, I won't say stupid, but they think he's kind of like, an idiot. Kind of foolish. But he's none of those things. He is smart. He is cultured. He is fine as fuck. And he's got a really great heart. And while he plays behind this kind of jovial look, he really is like a great human being. And I think he had to be that way in order to have the life he wanted. I think that he had this persona because if he was this smart, debonair, good-looking guy, people would feel uncomfortable around him, and they wouldn't reveal themselves and he wouldn't get to see their true nature because they would be putting on airs to impress this guy. So I get why he needed that, but I think he also saw that because he hid behind this mask, Heejin never really got to know the real him right away. And instead, she fell for a guy that she knew his heart already. And I think he saw that and like, well, if that's what it takes, I'm not going to let love pass me by a second time. I'm going to live my life as who I am. And I can't spend the rest of my life worried about that people aren't going to accept me because I'm this guy or I'm that guy, or people are going to be fake to me because of who I am. I'm just going to have to assume that somebody is going to see me and that I will be able to be all of myself with them. So yeah, I thought that was really, really sweet, and I appreciated that a lot. So those are all things that we got to talk about. Other relationship with Heejin and Hari are still intact, thank goodness. Hari finally got to apologize to Seungjoon, and the apology was good. It wasn't, I'm sorry that you loved me or anything like that. It was just, I'm sorry I lied to you. I'm sorry I lied to you. I'm sorry I caused all these problems. I'm sorry if I hurt you. And, I don't expect you to forgive me, but I would love for you to accept my apology. I thought that was a classy move. And, he did tell her, maybe if we had met under different circumstances, we could have been friends. And that's right. And that's true. And, I hope that somehow those two managed to come to an easy place together. I don't know if it's going to take Hari finding her own man or if it's going to take, something else. But I would love for those two to be able to come to some kind of agreement, some kind of understanding between them, because they're both very important to Heejin. Heejin is never going to give up on Hari. They're best friends and have been best friends for almost 30 years. So that's not going anywhere. But at the same time, Seungjoon is her future. And, she's not going to give him up either. She almost did, but at the last minute she changed her mind. So I would love for them to find a way to make it all work so that Heejin can have all of her family, because she deserves that. And I think as bad as this was, as horrible as what happened, I don't think it's necessarily a complete deal breaker. It was pretty bad, but it wasn't a complete deal breaker. So let's see what happens with that. Seungjoon and Heejin. Yeah, I'm glad that after they kissed at the hotel, after they kissed at the hospital, no more games. Thank you. Because if they had done the whole, I don't like you, I might like you, I don't like you, I'm not sure. If they had done all that after the kiss at the hospital, I would have been done. Because we were like way off towards the end of the series. We don't need that anymore. Nobody wants to deal with that coulda, shoulda, maybe cold feet shit. We just want you guys to, be together, give us some cute, adorable moments, and, ride towards your happily ever after. Because there still is this major conflict with the magazine ending and who's the heir and who's off the tin that we needed to deal with. So we really didn't have to have drama between Seungjoon and Heejin because we had a whole bunch of drama going on here. The only thing about Seungjoon and Heejin that I was kind of like, I don't know about this, the marriage proposal. At the end of episode 13, when he proposes to Heejin, I remember thinking, whoa, this is a little much. It's a little much. I understand he's known of her for 15 years, longer than 15 years, but he hasn't known her for 15 years. And there is a difference. They met as kids, and they may have spent a good 2, possibly even 3 years being great friends. But outside of some letter writing they did for maybe the first couple of years after he left, he really didn't have any interactions with her. And people change in 15 years. They really change. I don't know about you, but I'm like a totally different creature than I was 15 years ago. I think differently. I eat differently. I dress differently. I listen to different music. I am a different person altogether. And I think anybody who knew me 15 years ago, there are shades of the original me that probably will never change, but there's a lot about me that has. And I just don't think that that's anything to base a lifelong commitment on. So I thought that even though they've had 3 months, and not even a full 3 months, about 2.5 months to kind of reconnect, at the same time, he didn't even know it was her for that first little while. So they weren't really interacting that much that first month. I just don't see it being a realistic thing for him to say, and definitely not a super realistic thing for Heejin to accept. So that did throw me off. But other than that, I thought their relationship was really sweet. When they were in the parking garage and he was hugging her while they were against the vehicle, that was so nice. Like, that was really, really cute. But the proposal, it threw me off. I didn't like it. So now let's go to the most important part of these last two episodes, the magazine. So at the beginning of episode 13, Seung-joon still hadn't told anybody that the magazine was about to close if they didn't hit #1 on this last issue. And he was working on trying to get Leonard Kim to be their lead article, whatever else. And somehow, the office finds out through a colleague in America that they're going to be closing soon. And it's a nightmare. It is a nightmare because they feel betrayed, and rightfully so, especially reporter Cha. Like, I have to give it to the writers. There's some bullshit they do, Hari's family, but the way that they had reporter Cha talk to Seung-joon, it was everything that I, as an audience member, wanted to say to him. And from somebody who had the right to say it to him. Because it couldn't have just been any old person in the office. It had to be somebody who, like reporter Cha, had given 13 years to this magazine. Spent all of her adult working life working for this position. Working her way up through the ranks to be who she is. And you have to think about what this means for all of them. Okay, imagine you have a job and you've been working on your job, I won't even say 13 years, let's say you've been working on your job for 2 years, and you don't find out that this month is the last month you're going to get a paycheck. I don't know if you're living check to check or not, but some people aren't prepared to go without their next paycheck. Then you need to try to find a job, and finding jobs are hard. Sometimes it takes a month, 2 months. For some people, it sometimes takes a year to find another job, if they ever find another job, because sometimes the economy is pretty rough. So you take people who have no idea that maybe they need to be saving their coins for possible unemployment, and you put them in this precarious position where they're just taken by surprise. They have no idea. And I thought that, I didn't think it was right for him to hide it from them in the beginning, but I definitely thought he needed to be told about how wrong he was to do that to them. And I'm surprised that Shin-yuk wasn't the one to tell Seung-joon, you need to tell the office, because he's been dispensing advice here and there about Heejin, but he never did say to him, maybe you need to tell the office that we're about to close doors in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I'm glad that they had that confrontation, and I'm glad that when the office came back, Seung-joon and Heejin were not the ones to get the office back. It was, I said Seung-joon, Shin-yuk and Heejin were not the ones to get the office members to come back. It was all Seung-joon, and I'm glad about that. I'm glad about that because he messed up and he needed to fix his mistake. And while I appreciate that Heejin is there to, comfort him, lend him a helping hand, let him know he's not alone, I'm glad they let him fix this mess. Because he needed to learn how to do that. He needed to learn to humble himself. He needed to learn to rely on other people and not try to do it all on his own. So, in the midst of all that, the interview with Leonard Kim that was supposed to save the magazine is canceled. Why? Because Leonard Kim is involved in a marijuana scandal. I was really excited about that. I know it sounds really crazy that I'd be excited about a marijuana scandal, but I think it's because it's one of those things that we hear about all the time. Like, if you're a K-pop fan and you read news about K-pop idols and stuff, drug scandals are a big deal. Like, they're career-ending kind of things. And so, for them to use that as the reason for Leonard Kim not to be able to be in the magazine, rather than some well, I'm an artist and I've changed my mind. I thought that was great. I thought that was great because it was a realistic thing to have happen. And also because I think it put the magazine in a much better place than it would have been if it had been I just choose to cancel. Because think about it for a minute. A magazine advertises they're going to get this big interview with this really famous person. And then right before the interview is supposed to end up in the magazine, this person's involved with a scandal. Of course, the public isn't going to expect the magazine to continue on with this person who's been tarnished by scandal. They're going to be like, okay, well, I get it. You're not going to do the interview after all because, you know, the drug scandal thing. So I thought that that was actually, even though it sucked that that happened when it did because, you know, of course, everybody's got to scramble and you're going to need a big save at the end, author 10. I still think it was a great idea to use that as the mechanism to pull Leonard Kim out of the picture rather than just like some bullshit, I changed my mind type stuff. So that happens. So in the midst of all the changes at Most Magazine and them deciding, you know, fuck it. We've lost our main story. We're going to close down. If we don't hit number 1, let's just do the issue that we wanted to do the way we wanted to do it. In the midst of all of that, Sung Jun's like, I just have one last idea. I'm going to try one last time. I'm going to see if I can get this interview with author 10. And when we saw Lala thinking about it, like standing there like, author 10, huh? That's who's going to take to save us. At first, I'm like, is she going to be the one? Especially when they had like the board meeting and she was like dressed in her 40s gangster outfit. I'm like, is this gonna be her? But it turns out it's Shin Yuk. And, you know, it is what it is in terms of everything else. Like, I've already talked about Shin Yuk and his revelation and stuff, but I don't know. Like, there's something about Lala. I need to see what happens with that in the next 2 episodes. I really need to see what happens with that. But there was this part where the team, as their last kind of team builder, when they decide, you know, fuck it, we're just going to publish what we want to publish, they all go out to Noribang to have karaoke times, and that whole scene was just so funny. But when I think reporter Cha asked Lala to get her nephew to save the magazine, you can see Pong Ho in the back kind of doing this number. You know you're the nephew. You know you're the nephew. I felt like his reactions prior to the revelation were kind of not in keeping with who he actually was. Like, he got all pissed off and walked off, and it was kind of like, but you can save this magazine. Like, first of all, you probably already knew that the magazine was going down. Like, I can't imagine that the chairman's nephew, future vice president of the company, wouldn't have been told, hey, this division of our company is in trouble. This is the stats. This is what the home office is saying. I can't imagine that to be true. So I felt like the way that they slipped in the air was kind of a little bit messy. It wasn't exactly clean. But, you know, in the end, yeah, Pong Ho, Mr. Back Scratcher, is the heir. Who'd have thunk it? But I think that's cool, though. I mean, because chances are he's going to save the magazine if the interview with Reporter 10 doesn't save it. And also, him and Reporter Cha might get together. And that would be really awesome because she deserves it. I like her a lot. She is one of my, like, kind of low-key favorite characters. I like her little role in The Office. Like, I'm not sentimental. Yeah, you are. But yeah, overall, I thought that these last 2 episodes were good. There were some bad moments. There were some confusing moments. But I thought that the focus on the magazine was the best option for the story writers. I thought that the wrap-up of the different relationships, doing that now instead of waiting until the very last episode to do it, was really smart. I thought that the people being revealed who they were, I thought that was okay. And overall, I'm looking forward to the last 2 episodes, whereas I think when I ended my last review, I wasn't looking forward to the last episodes. I was almost done with the series, to tell you the truth. I was in a negative space when it came to the series, but now I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing what the results of the interview with Arthur Tin do for the magazine. I look forward to seeing what the future holds for Heejin and Sung Joon. I look forward to seeing what happens once the team gets to talk with Pong Ho after he's revealed that he's the chairman's nephew. I want to know what the hell's going on with Lala and why she has on her gangster costume. There's a lot of things I want to find out about, but I'm just glad that they're not doing what K-dramas typically do. What K-dramas typically do, for those of us who have been watching, they ratchet up the drama to the nth degree, and then in the very last episode, everything gets revealed. in some ways, I get it. In some ways, I get it. Because you want to give people a reason to tune in every week. But sometimes they'll get to that last episode when it's time to wrap up all these storylines, and it's going so fast and so many things are taken care of that it's, number one, virtually unrealistic, but number two, you miss a lot of stuff, and it kind of strikes you as being kind of like, what? Really? I guess. That seemed easy. Or we could have done that a long time. Like, it gives you pause. It gives you pause, and it really lets you down because you invest weeks into a series, and then in one episode, everything's tied up that took you weeks to try to figure out whatever else. So I appreciate that they're letting us kind of get our finale now, and maybe we can just refine a few points in these next two episodes. I like that a lot. Speaking of, for any of you who happen to finish this review, which if you do, man, kudos to you, high fives. I would love for you guys to tell me your least favorite finales of K-dramas. There's some of you that maybe are new to K-dramas, and I can get that. But for those of you who have experience with K-dramas, I would love to hear from you your least favorite K-drama endings. Because I can tell you of a couple that I was kind of like, the fuck? Big. Flat out big. I didn't like the ending to Big at all. The last episode of Coffee Prince kind of seemed like it was extra. Like I didn't need it. But I didn't hate it. I just felt like we didn't need it. The last episode of Rooftop Prince is actually my favorite episode of the entire series. Like, absolutely my favorite episode because it has my favorite scene in the entire series. But the very last scene of the series kind of was a little bit like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? I was kind of like, okay. Okay. There's a lot of you who are not going to agree with me. And if you don't, I totally get it. But I'm just going to put this out there because these are my feelings and this is my video. The last episode of The Moon That Embraces the Sun. Some bullshit. Flat out some bullshit. That is my absolute least favorite finale of any show I have ever watched K-drama wise. And I've watched probably about maybe 20 or 30 different series. That is my least favorite ever. To this day, first off, see, already we're almost 30 minutes. First off, I really didn't like the actress that played the lead in The Moon That Embraces the Sun. I thought that she was just like bland as hell. But the secondary lead in that show was one of my favorite secondary leads. And that really should be a countdown, favorite secondary leads. We should answer that question in the comment section as well. But the way they killed him, what? You saw it coming. Everyone saw it coming, and no one picked up an arrow, a knife, a dagger, a stapler. Nobody did anything to stop that death from happening. Worst finale. That's the prize. Worst finale. The Moon That Embraces the Sun. Worst finale ever. All right, guys. Well, that's it for the review. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm sorry the lighting's bad. I'm doing things at night. You know, I'm fitting them in where I can fit them in. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.